Okay, so we are here. Welcome everybody to the Launch series, and this is a series of interviews in which we are going to dive very deep into some real launch stories with real people who have been launching. A few products so far, and they are willing to share with us all their struggles as they were just starting out. And today I'm here with Hilde Fossen from getstyleconfidence.com, and I'm super excited because, as you can see, first of all, she's so beautiful. I was just I was just talking to Hilde a few minutes ago, and I confessed to her that I have some major branding crush on her. So I'm really looking forward to hear about the amazing business idea that she had, and how exactly Hilde managed to go from the initial idea, to launching for the first time. So welcome, dear Hilde. Thank you for so much for being willing to share your launch story with us today. And please now introduce yourself and tell us more about your business idea, and your why, your big why.
Okay, thank you so much for having me, Olivia. I'm the go-to stylist for women entrepreneurs, and I used to be a fashion designer. I was a fashion designer for 20 years and also a
Wow.
design teacher. Yeah, so it was, everyone says, why did you leave fashion design? It's a dream come true. But, after 20 years, you want something different.
Yeah.
So I started an online business because when I realized that you could make digital products and sell the same thing over and over and over and over again, I was just like, oh my God, I need to get into this business. Because in fashion, I have a lot of friends who have their own fashion brands, and this is so difficult. The competition is fierce. And when you create a collection, you have to maybe go to the bank and take up $1 million loan to pay for fabric and to get the factories to produce the clothes. And then they're sent out to the stores, and then a few months afterwards, you get paid. So, it's a really big financial struggle. Yeah. And also, some of my friends who are designers, they tell me, okay, I spend 5% of my time designing and 95% of the time dealing with factories and warehouses and things like that. So I'm just so excited to be an online entrepreneur.
Well, so this is amazing. So basically, you've been for 20 years, right? You've worked in fashion design, and I know that you also did some design teaching, like you're a teacher teaching other people about fashion design. And I know that you've been working with some big names out there. So I get it that, of course, going to a heavily money investing business area to an online business, or basically where everybody can start their business with $100 or even less, it's a no-brainer. So what about the fact that having your own online business would actually cut back some hours from your actual working time and give you back some free time? Have you also, this was also something you considered and was appealing to you at the time? Because I know that everybody's talking about the fact that, having an online business means that you can work whenever you want, you can skip weeks of work. Is that true for you?
Yes, it is true for me. It is true for me. And, I live in a really small town. I was a fashion designer, and I lived in London and some big cities. Now I'm back in my hometown. And one of the reasons why we moved back is because here we have babysitters. Oh. So especially when my child was young, we had this amazing help with amazing babysitters, which, frees up so many hours and just makes everyone so much more happy. I also actually really appreciate working from home, because I used to have an office in the city in this very cool business hub, but I prefer working from home because just traveling back and forth takes so much time. Mm-hmm. So now I just roll out of bed and walk three feet to my office. So it really saves me a lot of time.
So this is great, and it can really show to other people that this is a reality. It's not a dream. I mean, for others, it's just a dream, but I encourage everybody to try it because this can be your reality as well, right?
Yes. And I still had my teaching job when I started for quite a while. Yeah. So
basically you had, if I understand correctly, you started working on your online business first as a side business, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And right now you are doing it full time?
Yes.
And how long did it take you to go from side business to doing it full time?
It took me quite a long time, probably a year and a half.
That's not long. I mean,
no, not really. And one of the reasons is, of course, that I was being a perfectionist, and I just admit it. I admit it. Yeah, I was a perfectionist. I was like, oh, I can't launch until everything is perfect, blah 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 blah. And looking back, that's not the way to do it.
Okay, that's great. That's another thing that people should have in mind. Just start, just take action. And I'm sure we will expand on this a little bit further down the interview. So because I really want to speak about this more, because I think it's a very important point. So when exactly have you started your online business?
Ooh, it must be about 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
And right now, you are at the point where you earn a full income out of this, and you're not, doing anything else on.
No, I'm not doing anything else yet.
That's great.
Yeah.
And how did you choose this idea? Why this particular business idea and not any other?
Okay, so when I was deciding on my idea, I had so many different things I was looking into, because at the time I was teaching fashion design courses. So of course my first idea was to teach fashion design online.
Of course.
It could be for kids or adults or something. But something happened. I had a fashion design course for adults, for women. And these were the best students in the world. They were so happy with everything I taught them. I was like, oh, thank you, Hilde, for teaching us this. It's so amazing. But then I was helping them fix their clothes, just taking in their clothes so that the clothes would really fit their body type. And then when I saw them step out of the changing room in their new dresses, and they were like glowing because like, oh my God, they felt so beautiful. They felt so fantastic, that I realized, yes, this is it. Looking and feeling your best is so important to people that is what I'm going to teach.
I think this is great, a great story about how exactly you found your business idea, because what I understand from all this is that you originally started with a totally different business idea related to what you have been doing so far. And once you took action and actually started working on that particular business idea, new ideas come to mind, because this is what happens, right? And this is exactly what happened to me. When I first started out with my business, I started with a totally different business idea than what I'm doing today. But I only was able to get to my reality today because I took action, and then I changed my business idea as feedback came back to me from my market. So this is definitely an important thing to keep in mind here. So I can only imagine, going from a very fancy office downtown in some very big city like London, and working with all those cool people in the fashion industry, and then all of a sudden being a new online entrepreneur. How was this change for you? I mean, was it hard?
I actually had a soft change, because what I did was that I left London, came back to Norway, and then I got this freelance fashion design job where I could work from anywhere I wanted. So when my kid was very young, I actually worked for 4 years for one particular company. And they were in a tiny, tiny village, so they could not get any fashion designers to live there. Nobody wanted to live there. So they had like fashion designers in different small towns all over the country. So I was already used to working by myself. And it was really cool, Olivia, because at that time I was designing children's wear. And so my kid had free clothes all the time. And he would, the kid didn't understand the concept of buying clothes. He was like, Mom, I want this. Why don't you make it kind of a Spider-Man kind of suit? I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. And then I would make it and he would get it. So the kid thought this was normal.
Oh my God, I totally love this. Okay, so I understand that in your case, it was not that radical switch from one day to the other. But when you first thought about launching something, a product or a service, how exactly did you came out with that particular idea?
It took me a really, really long time to start selling my services, because I was in one of these courses where you learn how to make a course, and I was like doing research and customer interviews and making my website and blah, 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 blah. And I thought, oh, I'm not going to be ready with my product in about 6 months. That was my idea. And then I wrote a guest post, and I got to know this amazing photographer called Heidi Hapanowicz. And she was like, oh my God, Hilde, all my clients, they need your product. And then I was doing Facebook Live in her group, and then people got in touch with me. So I started a coaching program just because people wanted it, they needed it. And what I did was that I talked to my coaching clients once a week, and then I created a new lesson for each week. And I had been studying this for such a long time that it was super easy for me to create the program. I already knew exactly what was going to be in it. And then Heidi wanted to use my course as a bonus when she was doing her own launch. And I was like, no, I don't have a course. And she's like, how soon can you have it ready? And I was like, oh, okay, I'll have it ready in 3 weeks. So then what I did was that I took all the material that I created for my coaching clients and created screenshots, videos from that. And bingo, that was my first course and my first launch. All thanks to Heidi.
So this is amazing. So basically what you are saying is that, okay, you did your research and all of that, but it was not until you put yourself out there and start doing something to get visible in front of more people. It was only then when you started having your first clients, like people coming to you to request some services that basically, if I understood correctly, you at that point you were not thinking about selling, right? So
yes, absolutely, yeah.
So basically, the business idea chose you, and you only took action, meaning that you decided to become visible, right?
Yes, yes, that's
So
exactly
this
it.
is amazing. I mean, thinking about it, I'm sure that everybody who is watching us right now, they already have some form of business, online business inside of them, right? Everybody can, I'm sure everybody can teach people something or can share their expertise in some way. So, and they can package this in the form of a product or a service. So, the lesson I learned right now with you is that we should try to become visible and get out there and share our story, and not necessarily our product idea, because maybe we don't have this, but our story, our why, our website, if we even have a website with people, and then just follow their lead, right?
Yes, absolutely. And it's still happening. It's just 2 days ago. I put up a post on Facebook with photos of my clients, and then I mentioned that we created a branded capsule wardrobe for her. And then someone's like, "What is that?" And I made an explanation. And then someone PM'd me and said, "Oh, do you have this program?" And I didn't have the program. But I said, okay, no, I'm just going to jump in. I'm going to make it straight away. So she signed up straight away for a beta program.
Wow.
Yeah. So now
only one post on Facebook it was? Or,
yes.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean,
yeah.
And I know that these things happen a lot. I mean, we are both in this online world, and we are both part of a lot of Facebook groups full of people who are doing this and they get results. And it's easy to do, right? Everybody can do this.
Yes, and what's surprising is that you will notice that if you create content, you just get started, just writing some posts and getting to know people, then people notice you and they like you. And then as soon as they see, oh, now she's got something that I want, then they will buy it.
So basically, all you have to do, even if you don't have a product idea or a specific service idea in mind, you can start getting out there, creating content that is really valuable for your target audience. Share this content everywhere, and they will start to notice you, and then we start to like you and trust you. And by the time you have a product idea, they will be ready to buy, right?
Yes, absolutely. And if you realize what people really want, then you can, it can be really, really easy. Because, I've done lots of launches to my list. And, but one time I just sent people one email, and I got made like $1,200 for just one email.
And let me just ask you this.
Yeah.
How much time did you spend on writing that email?
Very little. just an hour.
I know you're great with emails.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it just took me an hour. But the whole clue was that what happened lots of times was that I had been helping people out because they had problems getting good photos, because they had certain brand colors that didn't look good when they were wearing them. So what I did was that I helped a lot of people just add a couple of colors so they look good wearing that color, but it still worked with the brand colors that were on their website. So I knew this was a big problem for people. So I just wrote about that situation, and then bing, people were like, oh yes, this is my problem, please help me.
So basically you identify one small, let's say small, because it's not small for them, it's very big, but one particular very specific challenge they had. And once you had that, you only had to write one email or one piece of content and make sure that content reaches them, that specific audience, and bam, you made $2,000, right?
Yes. And what's amazing is that I didn't make a big email campaign with lots of emails, no webinar, no sales page. It was just that I really talked about that problem that they felt, and then that was enough.
So the idea here is to don't give up and go from the general idea that you might have right now to nailing down a specific, very specific problem that they feel like, you know, it's a big issue for them. And once you have that, everything else is just extra, right?
Yes, true. And what's really important is that you don't spend months trying to find that one problem, because then you're going to get stuck. You know, you're going to get into perfectionist mode, and you're going to, oh, what is the big problem? Because you're going to have a lot of people who are your target market and are potential clients, and they will all have different problems. Some of them are the same. Like with fashion, some people have problems with colors, some people have problems with their body type, some people have problems with branding, things like that. And so it doesn't matter if you talk about one problem and then it doesn't hit a certain client, because then you talk about another problem the next time, and then that is going to be perfect for that client. And then as long as it's in the same family, so that you don't talk about completely different things, then that's going to build you as an expert within a certain field.
That's great. And I agree. I totally agree. I mean, I have experienced the same story for my own business ideas. So I'm just wondering, so coming back to your initial launch, did you have like a specific launch strategy at that time?
I would say that for my first launch, my friend Heidi Ivanovic, she did the entire job. And what she did was that she created a challenge, and then she got me and makeup artist Ulla Gaudin on board. And so there was a Facebook group challenge, and she was amazing with targeted Facebook ads. And so we all built our list. We added 770 people to our lists.
Wow.
So yeah, she's really...
time?
Sorry?
In how many days?
I don't remember exactly, but maybe just a week or 10 days or something like that.
So yeah. It's a very short period.
So she was really good at that. And then the purpose of the challenge was to build our lists, but also for Heidi to sell a program at the end. So she did everything. But then I did my own launches afterwards, because then all of a sudden I had a little list. So what I did was that I had this big comprehensive course, a very big course. And then I was following Bushra Azar. And, I have a few of her products, but I don't have her big launch product. But I took all her free webinars, and I was taking notes, and I was learning everything from her. So what I learned from her during the free webinars was how to create a product ladder. So how you create a small product that they start with, the second one, and bigger and bigger. So I took my big course and I divided it into smaller products. And started with a $47 product called Nail Your Style, which is step one.
Okay, so it was a $47. So
yeah,
all of the sudden, from having all these big course, you following Bushra's advice. Bushra it's amazing. I mean, we all love Bushra.
Yes.
You ended up starting with a very small product, let's say, very, very reasonably priced, and you launched this.
Yes. And then I also used Bushra's method for building a sales funnel, because she has, she has this model of certain kind of emails that you send at certain times. And then there's a launch trigger in the middle, and I was doing a webinar. So I followed her process.
So basically, you once you had your business idea, your product idea, sorry, and the price, $47. I mean, how exactly did you choose that particular price? Why
Uh, I
not
chose it.
more?
I chose it because it's recommended by many online
Mhm.
gurus to be, such as Ramit Sethi. He talks about that price point as a good one.
Mhm.
But the course is, I got some amazing feedback on the course. So now the price is $98.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what I understand from your experience is that you are following the advice of well-established, well-known people in our field. You chose to stick with a price that would be a no-brainer for people to buy. Just that based on these initial purchases, you can build up your authority and get some amazing testimonials, and then launch it again at a higher price.
Yes. Yes.
So this worked. How this worked for you?
It worked really well. But what I did after that first launch was that then I launched my product number 2, which is called Body Confidence, and which is the natural next step.
So this would be like a bigger course.
Yes, a little bit. Actually, not really that much bigger, but the value, I would say it's bigger, also because it includes access to my private Facebook group where people can post outfit photos and get personal feedback from me.
Okay, so
Yeah.
basically it's an upgraded version
Mm.
of that really tackles some other burning points beyond the original ones.
Yes, correct.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be step number 2, but for someone, you can also use it as step number 1 if you want.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people who bought the first course also bought the second course.
So basically, by purchasing the first course, they got to experience um, you.
Mm.
Your knowledge and your expertise and your way of teaching them. So once they got familiar with this, they began to trust you, and then it was very easy to convert them again into paying clients.
Yes, that is correct. That is the whole idea. Mm.
That's great. So
Yeah.
how long was your the launch for this $47 product?
It was 1 week. 1 week with 4 big sales emails. The kind of emails that you really have to. It's best to study with someone who can tell you how to write these emails. And I also worked a lot with Alp Turan, who is an amazing person when it comes to email marketing.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he's absolutely fantastic, and I learned so much. So that writing the emails for that first course, that was a big job, and I even made some big mistakes. That Alp was like, "Oh my God, Hilde, yeah, this is a good email, but you made this kind of mistake, and you have to change it." So that was a bit of a job. But what's amazing is that afterwards, now I really know how to write an email sequence. So for launch number 2, it was super easy for me. And what I've also done is that I have taken all these emails that I wrote for those 2 launches and turned them into evergreen funnels, which means that if people come to my website and they sign up for a freebie that has something to do with style, then they automatically get all my sales emails for Nail Your Style.
So
And
basically, once a new person comes to your website and decides that she or he wants to opt in your email list because you deliver some kind of free content to them,
yes,
they from the second day they start to automatically receive this sales email sequence, or so it's after how many days they get into the sales funnel?
they get into it right away.
Right away.
So yeah, right away.
How
Yeah,
how is your how are your results with it? I
they're
mean,
really good.
really good.
The results are good. Yeah, it's so funny because um, I hired a very technical person to set it up inside my email system because I'm not that good at technical
Mhm.
stuff. I just admit that. Um, and we fixed all that when I was on vacation, right before I went on vacation. So, there's this cliche about online entrepreneurs because I was actually in Florida by the pool when I got the email about people buying my courses.
Oh my God.
So it actually,
I agree. This is such a cliche. I mean,
yes.
going to stay to the beach with a nice cocktail, palm trees, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden I check my phone and look, I have three more sales. So you really got to experience this.
Yes, and it was so funny because I hadn't done anything to try to get traffic to my website.
Mm-hmm.
So at first, I didn't understand. I thought there was some kind of technical
Like,
mistake.
that's amazing.
Yeah,
So,
and another reason why putting the effort into that writing emails the first time, I did a launch with Nagina Abdullah
mm-hmm,
Saidi.
mm-hmm,
She is a weight loss coach, and we did a launch together because she has a list that is much, much bigger than mine. And
mm-hmm,
so we did a launch where we were selling my body confidence product to her list.
mm-hmm.
And what I did was that I wrote all the emails in Nagina's voice. And what I did was that I used my old emails as a formula.
Mm-hmm. Like a
And this,
template.
yeah, and then at the start, I always start with a story. So I had new stories, but the sales argument at the end of the email was the same that I had used before.
So basically, you can replicate once you
Mm.
invested some hours, days, whatever, weeks in writing the like not a perfect. I don't want to say perfect because
Mm.
we both know we still have a lot of things to improve. But once you have some kind of launch asset that you are happy about, you are comfortable with using in your launches, then you can replicate them again and again. So basically, your initial time investment is is what's the word?
It's worth it.
It's worth it. But I also
Yeah.
need to say that once you invest this time, you only do it once at the beginning, and then you start ripping up out the benefits for years to come. So
Yes.
you cannot do this in your day-to-day corporate job, right? You cannot advance your career for the next 3 years or 5 years based on one specific month that you worked hard in, right?
No, this is true. And that's what I love so much about online business because
Mm-hmm.
it's really true that when you build a foundation and you learn the first set of skills, then you can really multiply the effect of that as you
Mm-hmm.
grow.
And actually, thinking about this basically means that your earning potential is unlimited.
Yes, it is.
Sky
Yeah.
is the limit.
Yeah.
You can earn as much as you are ready for, right?
Absolutely. And, now that I have, first I did the launch and then I turned the launch into an evergreen funnel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now it means that my whole machine is ready. So I
So
just
you
need,
have all this free time right now to use in brainstorming more product ideas and growing
no,
more, no?
no, that's not what I want. What I want is to bring more people into the machine.
Okay, so
Yes.
that's great. So basically,
Mm.
because I see a lot of people who are doing this mistake, let's say. So once they have launched their first product or service, they think, this is it. I have to move to the next one, to the next product idea, which is wrong because your initial launch covered maybe, I don't know, a little percentage of your audience for that particular launch. So once you have invested so many time on getting the product ready, getting the funnel ready, and all the assets, why not try to reach a bigger audience with the same product? This is one of the lessons that I also learned. It took me a lot of time to learn. Let's put it like
Yes.
this. So I totally agree with you, and thank you for bringing this up, because I think this is a very important point in that everybody should know about.
Yes, but I really understand why it's easy to just move on to new products, because I have the same thing, and it's often because you already have clients that you've been working with and you feel very close to them and you want to help them. So that becomes your focus. But what we have to remember is that it is really smart to reach a bigger audience, because then you can help more people.
Yeah.
But the way I solve this is that when my existing clients want more help from me, because lots of people want help with if they have a photo shoot, if they're going on TV, or if
So
if
they have an immediate need.
Yeah, or if they just want to move to the next level. So that's when I work with them as a one-on-one consultant. Because then I don't have to create a new product and all of that. I just meet them and I help them with the exact thing that they need right then and there.
Okay, so basically you have the patience for your audience to reach a specific point in their journey, and you meet them at that specific point, and you offer them your one-on-one services.
Yes, correct. Yes.
That's great. So you mentioned that your first launch for this product was 1 week, which is a short period of time in the world of launches. So what was your main traffic strategy? I mean, who was your audience for this particular launch? Your email list, or how exactly have you promoted your product?
Okay, so the first launch was Facebook ads, but that was Heidi. She fixed everything. She is amazing at that. And the second one was just to my existing list.
So basically, you mentioned a little bit earlier that based on your collaboration, your partnership with Heidi, you had almost 700 people on your email list.
Yeah, almost 800.
Okay, so and then you launched this $47 only to them, to this customer list.
Yes.
Okay, so basically, you did not invest it more time in waiting for months until you get to 5,000 people on your email list, or whatever magic numbers we have in our mind that we need to reach before launching.
No, and I think I would recommend launching something quick instead. And I had an online course, but maybe it would be a good idea for people to launch a coaching program, or I know Bushra talks a lot about mastermind calls, like a class kind of thing, because what you want is you want to launch something and give people a product without spending too much time. And one of the reasons is that you want to test it and see if it works, if people get results, and if they like it. And if you launch something and people don't want it, then just move on to the next thing.
I love this, because I'm a very true believer also in the idea that once because let's face it, when I first started out, I had this idea in mind that I need to reach 1,000 people on my email list before even thinking about launching something. And all of a sudden I got very discouraged and demotivated, because I thought that I will have to wait for a long time until I get there. Okay, so, and I didn't see the point. I mean, for me, it's all about getting momentum.
Mm.
Right, and I'm sure that is not the case only for me. I mean, this is like a basic psychological principle that works for everybody, for other people. So, in any area of your life, if you have small wins, this motivate you to take further action, and this again pushes you to complete success in that particular
Mm.
field of your life. So I'm a big believer, as I said, in this idea that you don't have to wait until you reach some shiny object, shiny level of email subscribers, some numbers, some magical numbers we have in our heads. So instead, we should take what we have, see what we can improve rapidly, and launch something, right? This is
Yes.
exactly what we did.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
700, 800 people is not a lot of people to have you on your email list when you're launching, right? At least this is what everybody seems to be talking about.
Mm.
But
No,
but you did it.
it's yeah, yeah, I did it, and of course, you know, since the product was very inexpensive, then the amount of money I made on that launch was not a big one, but it's a strategic decision because, as you said, you want people to experience your products, experience what it's like working with you, so they're ready to go to the next level.
And
And also,
once they experience this, they can get to the next level fast. I mean, you don't have to wait
absolutely.
another year to get them there, right?
Yeah, and what's interesting is that I also have people on my list who have not bought any of my products or any of my online courses, but they get in touch when they want a photo shoot. And of course, for a photo shoot, I do it as a consulting, so the price is much higher.
Right.
So, but doing a launch and proving that you're a professional and you're an online business person who knows what they're doing, that also shows that you're an expert, so that people will buy something else from you.
So basically, what you're saying is that once you get through a launch, you you position yourself just by launching something.
Yes.
You
Yes.
position yourself in front of your audience, as tiny or as big as it might be, as the go-to person for that particular service or product.
Yes.
And you get inside their minds as the expert in your field, and then once they need your services, they know, I'm going to go to Hilde because she's the go-to expert on fashion and design, right?
Yes, absolutely. And they also, if one of their friends needs your product, they will recommend you. And it's.
So basically, a launch is building your brand as well
I
as
definitely
revenue.
think so. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
That's great. So I know you mentioned that with your first launch, you haven't earned six figures, right? And of course, with $47 and a very small audience, I mean, it would be impossible. But can you share some real numbers? And I'm not talking about revenue here, but a lot of people, for a lot of people who are just starting out, at least for me, it was the case. I needed to understand what exactly you are talking about here. I mean, what was your main objective for the launch, and what numbers can you share? All sorts of numbers.
Okay, so the objective for the launch was to, of course, build expertise, to learn how to launch, actually, and also to get people ready to buy more expensive products. So when it comes to industry averages, I'm not quite sure about the numbers, but I think 0.5 to 1% is the industry average of how much you can sell to your list of a product of that price.
So basically, this means that if you have 1,000 people on your email list, you can sell to based on an average on the market, and based on pure statistics, you can sell to 1% of them.
Yes.
So this, okay.
Yeah. So that's only 10 people.
10 people. Okay.
Yeah.
And how were your results compared to this?
So they were around above 1%. So they were above industry average, which means that's really good. And when it comes to the evergreen funnels, so far I don't have that many people going through it, but the numbers are looking good. So so that means that the sales emails are working.
Okay, so this means that you validated everything you needed to validate for this particular product, and also more than that, you validated your own abilities of putting together all the assets for any of your future launches, right? Because you have some great numbers, you exceeded your industry's average. So this means that you are already good at selling and launching something, right?
Yes.
And you have what I love the most about your story is that you have this vision for your future launches. You have a long-term strategy, like building up on your products.
Yes, absolutely. And it's so important to know what you're after. And what I didn't really think about at the time, but that I just realized was that it was actually really good to only do a launch to my list first before spending lots of money on Facebook ads. Because if you spend lots of money on ads and then if your emails aren't working, then you have a problem. So
you lose money and motivation, and you just want to give up, honestly. So looking back at this launch, what would be your main lesson learned that you want to also share with us, with people who are preparing for their first launches?
Okay, I would say that the most important thing with a launch is that there are so many different things you have to remember that build yourself some very good systems, like lists on the wall, and it's like Monday morning this, 10 o'clock this, da 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 da. Especially if you do a webinar and if you send people to a sales page with a deadline, like you get this price until for only 24 hours or something. And if you're playing around with all these kinds of things, write lots and lots and lots of lists. And I would also suggest that if you think it's too much, then simplify. Maybe you don't need a webinar. Maybe you don't need an early bird price. Maybe you don't need some things. Because when I did the launch with Nagina, I think I did 6 emails altogether, as well as a webinar. And when we did a post-mortem on that launch, Nagina said that I think we didn't have to do the webinar, and I think 3 emails would have been enough. And one of the reasons is that emails is one of my strengths, so that we probably could have sent people straight from the email to the sales page. And one thing that was really important was that Nagina told me, Hilde, you need payment plans. And I hadn't done payment plans because I was like, oh no, it's too technical. I have to go in PayPal, and how do I do this? And then she told me that it's like lots and lots of her own sales came from payment plans. So when I decided to do it, I went into PayPal and I just made a couple of these buttons. Making PayPal buttons, if anyone needs to do it, it's much easier than it looks. It's actually super easy. Even I can do it. And that was so much easier. And then I have my courses on this platform called Teachable. And it turns out inside Teachable, it's also really easy to create payment plans. So That's
So,
one thing that's easy.
so just what I understand from this lesson is if you have this idea in your mind that you are not comfortable, you know it would be good for your launch and for your business to do it. But inside, you feel that you are not capable of doing that. It's too difficult. You have to try it anyways to validate the idea you have in your mind. And maybe it turns out, as it was in your case, that at the end it's not that difficult, right? And this immediately improved your next launches for the same product.
Yeah, absolutely. It turned out to be easy. And another thing that seems to be very difficult is to have these timers. But I used a product called Deadline Funnel that has these timers. And what's amazing is that Deadline Funnel actually has an expert who gets on Zoom with you, and they do the job for you. They're like, you just show them, and they say, click here, click here, click here, and they help you with everything. And I think I went on 3 calls with an expert, and they just fixed
Whatever
everything.
you need, right? So
Yeah.
we should really be clear about this today. If you have an online business, or even if you have a brick and mortar business, but you want to promote online, there are so many different tools that today you can use, even if you are totally a non-tech person. I'm not a tech person, and I'm still doing all of my sales pages and everything. You are doing the same. So it's not that hard with technology today, and it gets easier and easier as time passes. Technology is very, very user friendly today.
Yes, absolutely.
And very inexpensive, right? Yeah, you don't have to invest, thousands in buying some fancy tools for your launch.
It's true. But the best thing I did for my business, Olivia, that is, I did not hire someone to do my website. I bought a template. It's from Elegant Themes. It's called Divi. There was just a lady. I loved her website, so I asked her, and she told me about this theme. So I just bought it, and it's already so pretty. I can just type right into it, and everything looks good. I don't have to do anything.
I know, because I use the exact thing.
Okay.
I mean, when I wanted to build my first website, like 3 years ago, I hired somebody I didn't know. So it was a complete stranger. And the results came out to be not what I needed. But I'm stubborn. So I purchased Divi, and I remember that in one weekend I had my website ready, and it was not perfect. I mean, it was very basic, but it did the job. So
yeah.
I totally resonate with you.
Yes, and my website is not perfect at all. There are some. I'm not that good at fixing everything inside Divi, and I know there are some things that are not perfect, but those small things are not going to matter because as a whole, it looks good.
So
and
you have a website that people come to, they sign up to your email list, and they buy from you. I mean, it's working, right?
Yes, it's working.
It doesn't need to be perfect.
No.
Great. So you mentioned about you share your top advice, for people. So what else do you think that someone who right now wants to launch something in the next 3 months should know, based on your whole experience so far?
What I would do was that I would make sure that your launch strategy is correct. Make sure that you really understand what kind of emails to send when, because your customers are going on a journey that makes them a psychological journey that makes them want to buy the product. And that has to be right. In the beginning, I made some mistakes where I wrote a good email, but the email didn't really point to the product. It was a bit like it pointed a little bit, in a different kind of direction. So that one I had to ditch. So it doesn't really matter if maybe your email is not that good, as long as that, the main idea behind your launch is working, then that is the most important thing. And then if your sales page is not perfect, if you don't do a webinar or something like that, then that is secondary.
So basically, what I understand from here, from what you're saying, is that, and I agree, so people, especially when they're only just starting out, they have a lot of ideas going on in their mind. I should do this, and I should try this, and I should share this particular story that resonates with me, and why me, and why I choose this, and why I'm doing this for people. But the most important lesson, I guess, is that we should stop thinking about ourselves and really think about our customer and what they are going through and what their specific journey is, as you said, like to try to map out the position of our client within their journey.
Yes.
And once we do this, we can then focus on everything else, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's the most important thing. And then you're never going to be able to do everything you want to do at the first launch anyway. So prioritize. And because it was, when I talked to Nagina after the launch I did with her, and it turned out that it might have been better to simplify. That's a big aha moment, because bigger is not always better.
Yes, but then you knew this, and you would not know this if you were not doing the launch as it was. So people just take action, right?
Yes, take action. And, if you happen to do a launch and everything fails, that's when you have your big story for when you're going on Oprah. Because, because
I know that you will be featured very soon on some very cool websites. So coming back to your story and your brand and your business right now, and coming back to you, I know that you have a lot of cool free stuff also for women entrepreneurs who want to wow their clients and to nail their branding from the start. So where can people know more about you?
Okay, so they can find a lot of cool freebies on getstyleconfidence.com.
And I will put the link below the website, below the video, sorry.
Yes, and I have to say that if you're doing a launch, then I would really recommend going for my Style Baby freebie. Because
that's
a good one. Because the biggest thing I hear from women entrepreneurs is that maybe they come from a corporate job and then they start working from home, and they just don't want to wear those terrible corporate suits that they used to wear in the office.
Tell me about it.
I know. And then they work from home and they end up working in their pajamas. And then they have a launch and webinars and things, and they don't have anything to wear. So
I totally get it.
Okay, so this is where the Style Baby comes in. Because imagine that your old corporate self is your professional papa. And then your yoga pants self is the creative mama. Now, none of them really fit the image that you want. So what you need to do is to get them on a hot date. And that will result in a Style Baby. And so the Style Baby is that perfect intersection between your professionalism and your creativity. And I love what you're wearing right now, Olivia, because that is a really good example. Because it's not stiff and black, and it's not like a suit, or you don't look like a lawyer if you're going to a boardroom meeting. And it's not a sloppy t-shirt. It's that perfect in between garment that is like a smart, casual look that is perfect for online entrepreneurs who want to look professional, cool, trendy, inspiring to their clients.
And also blue is part of my branding. Talking
Yes,
about
blue is your
branding.
brand color, pink is my brand color. So, which means that when people scroll Facebook and they see either one of us, they're going to recognize us faster because we're wearing our brand colors. So that's so important. So, I have, with the Style Baby technique, I have this freebie where I have 10 outfit templates.
Wow.
And this makes it easy because all of us, we have like boring black clothes, or we have jeans and things like that. So it just shows how you can just add a little creativity, and then the whole outfit is like something you would wear if you were going on Marie TV, or if you're doing a webinar, or things like that.
So I totally love this, because I recognize myself in every word that you are saying right now. So this shows to me two things. First of all, that of course you are the expert, the go-to person if I want to know more about how I can nail down my branding style. And second of all, it also tells me that you know exactly what goes inside my mind, right? I'm your ideal client. I'm part of your audience, and you talked directly to my inner struggles. So this really shows your maturity, in terms of approaching your own client journey.
Yes, and this is really, really, really important because what I said right now is I said something like we all have genes, but the truth, Olivia, is that I don't have any genes. I used to have genes, so I used to be that person who had genes, but now I don't have any genes. I just wear pretty dresses all the time, but I've been there, and I know what it's like. And the boring basic clothes, yes, I do have those. So what you do is that you really have to know your audience and their situation, and then you also tap into that side of yourself who also knows it. Maybe you know it in a little bit of a different way, but you have the same emotions that your audience or every single individual person in your audience has.
You are all about triggering emotion in your audience, and emotion gets people to take connection, right? A desire.
Yes.
Like signing up to your email list. And I strongly recommend women who are struggling with their branding to sign up to your amazing freebie, because I know all about this freebie. I consumed it. So I know how valuable it is. And as I said, they can find the link to this freebie with this video. So right now, I just want to say that I'm really, really grateful for all the nuggets of knowledge and all the stories that you share with us today, with me and my audience, about your launch struggles. And I know, this is like something I almost never see out there online. Everybody gets visible and they start sharing their launch stories only after they are comfortable with reaching a certain launch milestone. Like everybody is sharing their big launch expertise once they can share a 5-figure launch, right? And I don't think this is okay. I mean, Why are we hiding? Why are not
Yes.
sharing
And
all the struggles in the
yeah,
beginning?
and I think it's really important to remember that online business is not only about big launches and selling online courses. Uh, I make most of my revenue from consulting.
Mm-hmm.
And I even have other online friends who have never created a course.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have any courses at all, but they just got known in Facebook circles for being good at this one thing. And so they
Mm-hmm.
have lots and lots of consulting clients. They don't need to make courses.
Yes,
So,
I actually started the same way. So for one and
yeah.
a half years, I only did consulting
Mm,
and for my media and PR and guest blogging services.
mm,
So, and it was only because I got visible and shared my knowledge in some Facebook groups, just a few of them. And then suddenly, as you said, people started to come to me to
mm.
request, they wanted to hire me on the spot. So yes, this is definitely one thing to emphasize, that there is not like a standard formula, like a magic path to take, and this is it. I mean, and also that until you get to launch your first 6,000, 6K launch, it will be a long way maybe,
Yeah.
and you need to understand the beauty in this journey.
Yeah. But Olivia, I have one amazing secret about those courses that I didn't
Tell
say.
me, tell me, tell
Yeah,
me.
this is something ingenious. It's ingenious. When I have consulting clients, they go through my courses also,
Mm-hmm.
which means that they get amazing value. They get these really good courses, and then when we go on a consulting call, then they're already 10 steps further than they would have been. And
Mm-hmm.
this means that the consulting call is very effective, and we can
Mm-hmm.
talk on a very high level, and they get amazing results.
So
So
basically, with your courses, you prepare them to make the most out of your one-on-one time with them.
yes, and so it's a win-win because they get a lot of value for their
Mhm.
money, and I save a lot of time, and the results for my clients are better.
Win-win situation.
Yes, it's
I mean,
really a big win.
this is the perfect, the ideal situation for
Yeah,
everybody, right?
yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much, dear Hilde, for sharing your amazing insights regarding your launches today. And I can't wait to see, because I'm following you like a
And thank you so much for having me, Olivia. There's nothing I love better than to talk online business with wonderful women all over the
lot.
world.
Oh, that's amazing, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for you. I'm sure you're going to do some amazing things.
Thank you, Olivia. Same here. We'll
So,
meet backstage at Oprah.
yes, have a great day. So I'm going to stop the recording right now. Thank you once again. And for everybody who's watching us, please remember this: take massive action. So bye bye, everyone.